We're live. Hey, guys, Old Man G here. We're back again with another podcast, Red Devil Studio Live, and I'm joined once again by
Shawnee.
Team Chicago 1.
And we're here to basically just go through some of the key games from the previous game week, and we're also going to be previewing the upcoming game week tomorrow, whilst also having the Wolves City game in the background. Commentating on it. So just for those obviously who are going to be watching, if you're new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Our handles are just below. Twitter, follow us at We United X, and follow us on Twitch, where we're also streaming to tonight on Red Devil Studio. So welcome everyone who is watching to the Red Devil stream. Don Wagner, thanks for waiting, man. Always good to see you in the stream. Wagwan Body, good to see you. Part of the crew as always. Like, get involved in the comments as well. So hopefully we'll have a good show tonight. Sorry. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, this guy, Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta at Arsenal Football Club. I think I'm going to hand this over to Team Takage 1 because obviously he saw the Bournemouth Arsenal game. It was a draw, but the signs are there's a much improved Arsenal team, and there's a signs that Mikel Arteta is building something. Would you agree, Team Takage?
Yeah, I watched the game. We all watched the game. It was Bournemouth looked pretty good. Obviously, they won their last one against Chelsea. So I thought this was going to be a bit of a hard game. I think from minute one, we just looked like a different team. And what was different from like other Arsenals, we got a 90-minute performance for once, which is good. It's a good sign. Obviously, we've got sort of six plus first team players injured, which is a bit of a tricky one. You know, we don't have any left back, so Saka's playing left back in a minute. And fair play to the kid, because he's had a good season in the Europa League, scored some important goals, and he's had an impact every game he's played in the Premier League. So for him to step up as a left back is pretty awesome. I think the only players that it was all over Twitter, Lacazette and Willock, they didn't look like Premier League quality, if I'm honest with you. Obviously Willock's young, so he has an excuse, but he just you're a professional footballer, so the chance that we had to make it 2-1, Willock he passed it to the keeper. So personally, I don't really want to see Willock in the first team. I think you should loan him out in January. And Lacazette, if we can sell him in January, that would be good too, because Aubameyang, the dilemma is you play Aubameyang on the left wing, and Lacazette as striker, and it just doesn't work. Aubameyang's way more clinical than Lacazette. But as far as Arteta, he's been doing. I'm happy with the improvements that we look like we're pressing a lot more. We look more of a team, tracking back together. Aubameyang was tracking back all game. He was knackered. I think me and Sean were saying, I can't remember how many minutes in, but he was hands on his knees in the penalty area. Looks absolutely knackered. So that's a good sign. The fitness will improve the more you do it. We just hopefully no more injuries.
Just to point to Don Wagner. Don Wagner says Arteta had Arsenal set up better. Transitions from defence to attack was more fluid. Strikers could have done a bit better with their chances, which I think is a fair assessment. And Ozil looked somewhat renewed. Would you agree, Shawnee?
Yeah. I'm a bit of an Ozil fan. I was actually looking forward to him coming to Liverpool at the time when he was flirting with English or Premiership teams. Liverpool were one of the teams that were on his tail to have him come to the club, and he was such a promising prospect because he was doing so brilliantly in La Liga. So coming from La Liga, having leaps and bounds the most assists over there, even above any of the Barcelona players, was just incredible. And you saw good indications from Ozil on on this game just gone. And it's surprising actually. I was surprised at how good Arsenal actually looked with just this one game. And I know that a new manager can make an influence quickly, but to have such a big impact was quite a shock to me. No, I thought Arsenal did really well. Quite enjoyed the game. It was for the first time ever I actually enjoyed watching Arsenal play, because it used to be like watching. I mean, the worst game pre-Arteta was probably Arsenal Everton. That would have been like the two worst teams to watch. But now, yeah, Arsenal look like the quality they should be, because they do have quality players. Yes. they've got they should be challenging for top 4 of the squad that they've got. So yeah, that was really enjoyed watching Arsenal play. I think Aubameyang, like Team Chicago was just saying there, he will get fitter. I think they all will, because they're not the fittest team by any stretch of the imagination. So it'll be interesting to see Arsenal Man United in a couple of weeks' time.
No doubt that will definitely be one of the games to watch. I mean, obviously as a rival fan, I'd be very concerned of how I think Arteta gets on. I think I see what Arteta is wanting to do. I also think that it's important that Arsenal fans give Arteta time, and that necessarily the results will not necessarily come thick and fast. I do still see the same defensive vulnerabilities in the Arsenal side that have always been there. I think the key difference was just the intensity. It looked like that the Arsenal players, there was much more intensity in their game, in their pressing, but also the transition from midfield to attack and stuff like that was a lot more fluid. There was a lot more. It was a lot more seamless. And then when Arsenal did lose possession, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, we've got Özil, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, whoever else is there, just up the top, just waiting for something to happen. They actually wanted to make things happen. And I think that's one of the big differences that Arteta's seen. So I'm hoping, because there is an argument to be had that Pep Guardiola doesn't really... He isn't a defensive-minded coach, in a sense that I don't think that... Let's be real here. Like, Vincent Kompany was not Pep Guardiola's signing. He'd been there at the club for ages, and he's still to date arguably City's best defender. So yes, I think he bought Laporte, Guardiola. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that, like, Guardiola is not known for necessarily making good defenses. So I don't necessarily think, if we're assuming that Arteta is going to finish the same way, that Arteta is going to somehow fix Arsenal's defence. They just have to be lucky in the fact that they just go out and buy a good defender. So I guess the question is, and I'll pass it back to Team Takage before we move on, is, do you think that Arteta can be a success at Arsenal Football Club?
I'd hope so. Or else it'll be another couple of years of misery.
Do you think Arsenal will get top 4 this season?
No, not. I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have to focus on Europa League. And so, obviously, we've been playing a lot of youngsters in Europa League, and obviously it's just our defence. Like, going forward, even in Europa League, we've been looking good, even when Emre was here. Mm-hmm. And that was playing youngsters. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Martinelli has like 8 goals in all competitions or whatever, which is pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. So I think strengthen that defence. I mean, we're looking at trying to get Saliba in January. I don't know how that's going to work. Obviously, he's coming next season. Might have to pay a bit more extra money or something and get him in January. I think that should be our priority, trying to get a couple defenders. That's it really. And I think the January transfer window should be busy, but we'll see.
Do you think Kroenke will spend?
He's got to, and he's under pressure, so we'll see.
Okay. Sean, do you have any more last comments to say about Arteta before we move on?
No, just that it's good signs. Good signs, good early signs. Surprised at how well they did. I think Arteta, going into the Arsenal job, would have been talking about spending in the summer. Surely that would have been one of his contract what's it like conditions to like say, right, okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to fix Arsenal, but to fix Arsenal I need 100 million or whatever, like 150 million in the summer, to like get some decent midfielders, get some decent defenders. We've got an aging strike force, like maybe get someone really young and youthful, promising, up and comer that's looking hot. Something like that would have been some of his preconditions before taking the Arsenal job, I would have imagined. I don't think he would have gone into that blind.
He's a smart guy. I don't think he'd just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take over the sinking ship without...
Without having the reinforcements to actually build what he wants to build, what he wants to achieve there. He would have also spoke about his achievements and like said, look, first 2 years we're looking at, securing a Champions League spot. Then we want to challenge the Premiership, all that kind of stuff. And if he sticks to the targets to have bonuses added to his, his spending money or whatever, that's kind of how it goes now in managerial contracts. So I would imagine he would have had something in place where he's allowed to spend a whole bunch during the summer, and hopefully not have players sourced for him, but rather get the players that he wants.
Well, I think that's the key, isn't it, with Arsenal? It's like, are the players that that Arteta have at his disposal, will they be his players, or will they be players the club will get for him? What is going to happen?
It seems that Emre didn't get all the players that he wanted, so that's an interesting one.
That's what one of Klopp's preconditions was, that he will have the final say on all of the transfers. He basically said, look, I want final say, otherwise I'm not taking the job. So probably Arteta would have been thinking the same. It's got to be my team. If it's not my team, then what's the point? I'm not here to manage somebody else's team. I want to manage my team.
I mean, well, his first selection was crazy. Obviously I know Xhaka and Torreira played together, which is probably our best sort of midfield. He played Nelson over Pepe, which is interesting. Very interesting.
But again, I mean, about Pepe, and I'll put that about that because I know a lot of Arsenal fans saying Pepe was Pepe, but you could argue in a sense Pepe has now been under 3 different coaches, in the sense of Mikel Arteta, Ljungberg, and it's like clearly there must be something in the background that's is it something that he's doing in training? What's going on? Do you think?
I think he's probably being rested.
Like
we got Chelsea next.
Yeah, taking out the spotlight.
Maybe that, and definitely being rested, because we've got Chelsea on. Is it tomorrow or the day after?
Day after tomorrow, I think Arsenal are playing.
There's games on the 28th, isn't there? Or is it?
Yeah, I think there is.
So leading up to New Year's.
Let's have a look. So
28th, yeah. So Arsenal's playing on the 29th.
29th, yeah. Arsenal playing Chelsea at home. So maybe you bring in Pepe for that one. I mean, Chelsea's fullbacks are trash, so you'd think Pepe would have a run at them, but we'll see. Yeah,
I think so. I think also like with Pepe, there was a few times you've got the naysayers that are like saying, he's terrible, he's not Premiership standard, he's not Premiership quality, and then he bangs a couple of absolute blind free kicks. That's the difference that he has.
I think he's one of those type of players. He can win you a game. I mean, he did it twice this season. West Ham, and what was the other one? The one in Europa League.
The Europa League was the one.
Two free kicks.
Right. 2 blinding free kicks. So he's a good free kick taker.
I mean, we don't. Who took our free kick
prior to that?
I can't even remember who it was, but I think if he doesn't start, he needs to come on like ASAP. Yeah, for sure.
Just one comment by Don Ragnar. Don Ragnar says Arteta seems to have a philosophy and is building a pattern of play. He's not freestyling with volleyball, football, I agree. What can I say? We'll get on to Ollie later in this podcast, but this is the thing with that's not random. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but again, a manager with a philosophy and a style of play, which we know a lot of managers have. I know what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's style of play is. It's counter-attacking football. But it just doesn't seem to work against low block teams, and he doesn't seem to have a reason to change it. But we'll get to that later in the podcast. But all in all, I think I sense just general positivity regarding Arteta, and basically that we'll see it's essentially a question of watch this space. I guess the key question is, will the Arsenal players step up to the plate, as it were, and deliver for him? I think that's the question that needs to be answered, and it can only be answered by the Arsenal players.
Well, once again, if they don't, they should just get rid of the players. Just like the board needs to stand strong and just like say, look, this is your manager. If you're not going to answer to him, then you'll just have to answer to somebody else at somebody else's club. You can't just be like, oh, are the players happy with the manager? That's just like, it's ridiculous way. You know, he's your boss and that's it. That's the end of it. You know, he shows authority and that's it. And I'm very, very sure there'll be a huge respect for Arteta, not just in his achievements there at Arsenal, but also knowing that he's been with Pep for the last few years. It's going to be a really, really strong prospect, I think, for even the harshest of Arsenal fans. I think should be fairly happy with this. Even though, who knows, you can't please the Arsenal fan base.
Right. Okay. Moving swiftly on. Liverpool. Liverpool FC. All of us, obviously, I was there. We all watched the Liverpool game against Leicester, and this was first against second. But the reality is that it was more like men against boys. The foxes were tamed, poached, as it were, hunted down by the Reds, and Liverpool looked like champions. And I think as much as this pains me to say it, when you look at someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold, who, you know, essentially just seemed to look absolutely ridiculous in that game. I think he assisted 3 times. He scored his goal 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. And that's a guy who's only, I think, 21 now, who can go from strength to strength. What Klopp has built in this Liverpool team is quite remarkable. And and as much as I hate saying this as a United fan, I actually don't think Liverpool necessarily get the credit they deserve. I think that City, when they were doing their records and winning their things, even last season when they won their domestic treble, which isn't really a treble, they got so many applause. Is this the best team of the league? Is this the best team ever? Blah, 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 blah. And they were talking about City. You know, and here we have a Liverpool side that has only lost, I think, once in the Premier League this year. Hasn't lost this season. There's obviously Champions League winners currently. They're most likely going to win the Premier League, potentially with a record-breaking points tally if they keep on winning their games. They could also go undefeated and smash Invincible's record, and they could potentially win the Champions League again, not to mention the FA Cup and so on. So I guess as I pass on to Shawnee, I think the 2 questions are you confident that Liverpool will go on this season to win more trophies? And then the second question is a tough question: is do you think that this is actually the best Premier League team ever?
The second one's a tough question. There's been a lot of really good Premiership teams, but the first one, I think I'm really happy with having a 13-point lead at this stage of the season. I think that's really, really healthy, and I know that we've seen Liverpool not do well after Christmas and sort of fall away a little bit. I don't think this team will. This team, I'm really quite proud of this team. It's really fun to watch. I look forward to every game. I didn't expect it to be 4-0 and for us to boss the game so severely at Leicester. It's away as well. Keeping in mind it was at the King Power Stadium. But yeah, can we go undefeated? I mean, at the moment, if we keep the form that we showed at Leicester yesterday, then yeah, you know, we would do. And it's just all down to injuries and things like that. I mean, Henderson, I haven't heard much about his shin injury, if it was a shin injury. I mean, it's Hendo, so at the end of the day, he'll probably be back next game because he's just he's a monster, isn't he? He just plays. But it was a Henderson injury that was one of the reasons why, we didn't do as well as what we did in the Brendan Rodgers season. So, we do have squad depth there at the minute. I know that Fabinho's coming back in January. So if I was to keep this answer short, I'd say, yeah, we've got every chance of going undefeated. Second question, is this the best Premier League team that we've ever seen? I mean, you'd have to line them up with all the other best teams. So like the Arsenal team, Vieira in midfield, Pires, Bergkamp, Thierry Henry. Could this team beat that team? No. And then you've got Beckham, Keane, Scholes, Van Nistelrooy, or Andy Cole, and could this team beat that team?
Let's be real. The Invincibles drew 12 games.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Liverpool have only drawn one game.
Champions League final.
Champions League, yeah, that's another one. So it's just the best team ever. I mean, as a Liverpool fan, I would say it's definitely the most likeable team in Premiership history. They're all just like a really good group of lads. I just love all of them. I don't really dislike any one of them. There's always been like one Liverpool player that I've always disliked.
Yeah, it's always been like with me as well, like Moreno or someone. Or Or like people used to hate on Lovren for a while, but like it's almost like Klopp's turned that around.
Yeah.
Like the only person, I think he got rid of the last one, which was Sturridge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, Salah's getting a little bit annoying sometimes as we were watching the game. But other than that, like the whole team's just looking amazing. And Naby Keita's just come back from injury, and like he looks so comfortable. Like for a guy who's been injured a lot.
Yeah.
The way he was like gliding past. This isn't who was second before today.
Yeah.
Like he was gliding past that midfield as if they weren't there.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah, so, really good.
Yeah.
Best team. I would say definitely most likable team. Best team ever. Like the front three are one of the most potent and dangerous front three in history. I think it's just unbelievable front three. Mane is
for like since 2016 or 17.
Yeah.
Like you've always had an amazing front three.
Yeah.
Like you had Sturridge, Sterling, Suarez.
Yeah.
Then obviously these three. Like
yeah.
it's just which is like it's quite. I don't know your transfer kind of.
The attack has been fantastic. Yeah.
We're watching the Man City Wolves game in the background, and Wolves player just absolutely bottled it. So but we'll get onto those cacks and stuff later.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I've made a good argument anyway. That to say that maybe I mean I wouldn't be scared of facing any of the other Premiership teams. If you were to give me the Arsenal team with like Vieira, Henry, like Robert Pires, Dennis Bergkamp, with Van Dijk and Gomez and Trent and Robbo at the back, I wouldn't. It would be a great game, and I think that it would definitely be one of the best clashes in Premier League history, and exactly the same with the Man United team, and that's a testament to who it is. I mean, I would say that if we do go completely undefeated with more wins than the Arsenal team, then probably the best team in the Premiership history.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially if we get like a Champions League as well.
Sorry, Don Ragnar says, what a player Trent Alexander-Arnold is. The left back reimagined as a deep line playmaker positioned by Klopp and executed well by Trent. Sorry, right back. I mean right back. Yep, I agree with that absolutely. And he's only 21, so the guy could certainly enter into the echelon of world class, because he had a brilliant season last season, and he's having a very good season this season. So he could certainly go on the echelon of world class.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just objectively, that, if obviously Liverpool go undefeated and win obviously the Premier League, so, objectively, you'd have to say that they were the best Premier League ever, because not only would they have the most points, unless some other team, gets more points than them, but also there's the potential for the Liverpool side to obviously win a treble. So let's put it this way: you could have a situation where Liverpool have not only won the Premier League, but they've won it with record points. They've won back-to-back Champions League titles, and they've also won a treble. Now, what other and you could even argue potentially greatest team, because like what other team in the Premier League's done, but also what other team in Europe has done that as well. So I don't know many teams in Europe that have gone undefeated in their leagues, bearing in mind how competitive the Premier League is, and at the same time won back-to-back Premier League titles. There might have been a Barcelona season, possibly, I don't know. Rasmus A, hello, shout out to you, Rasmus, thanks for joining the stream, really appreciate it.
What's crazy as well, like when watching that Leicester game, I was like, we're in the middle of Christmas, and like Liverpool were like Liverpool were pressing and sprinting for like the full 90 minutes.
And looks like Raheem Sterling has scored for Man City.
Yeah, 2-0. Well, not for you. There's some points is racking up for you.
Yeah, points for me, but I'm not happy anyway because I fell for Wolves. Anyway, go on. Go on.
Nah, I'm finished.
Okay. So surely last thing to say about Liverpool. I mean, I guess last question is, the Premier League's done, isn't it? They won the title, isn't it?
Well, 13 points is a good gap. It's just that I wouldn't say that to the players. I wouldn't say it's done and dusted. We've won. I would say we have to keep. Let's concentrate on the next game. Let's keep our momentum. Let's keep sharp. Not to mention we've got a busy period coming up in February with the Champions League as well. So we've got to make sure that we stay nice and injury free. Because injuries, you never know what that can do. So a lot of the time you have to fight that as well. You have to fight the injuries. You have to fight the games. But that's just exactly what Team Chicago was saying there just now. You've got a Liverpool team who's just come off a tour winning a trophy, going into the second best team in the country, not looking tired at all. I mean, we matched them well above, not even match them. They couldn't match us for whether it was for fitness or just generally football. It was a footballing masterclass there, what we saw at the King Power there. But yeah, really, really great. It was really, really encouraging to see. I just hope that we just keep that momentum up, and yeah, why not? I mean, we've gotten this far. Might as well go on undefeated.
Fair enough. Okay, Rasmus A. It is so disheartening that it seems Scousers are going to win it. I do agree as a United fan, and it's even more disheartening to see how many points actually were behind the Scousers. It's probably the widest we've been for goodness knows how long. So that's so. But anyway, we're gonna move on now. Actually, there's been enough Liverpool love. Let's move on to this man, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was a good win against Newcastle. If I'm honest, I was for the first 30 minutes I was raging, and that was an understatement. We were so bad, and to see that ginger kid, Matty Longstaff, score again. I didn't even know he hadn't played for Newcastle. He actually hadn't played for Newcastle for 2 months, and the last time he played for Newcastle was in that United game when he scored against us. So how on earth did Matty Longstaff, who scored against us at St James's Park, then come back, having not played for Newcastle for 2 months, and still score against us at Old Trafford? It was ridiculous. Thankfully, however, Georgia B, thank you for joining. How you doing? Back first 20 minutes. Bad first 20 minutes. We had a really bad first 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I agree. But it was bad. And after that goal by Matty Longstaff, I genuinely thought that if we lost this game, Ollie should be sacked in the morning. Not because I have any beef, but because the performance was bad. But fair play to the players. They as you saw my post-match reaction yesterday, Martial got into game. Good finish. I'll bet the Bravka should have done better. And then Mason Greenwood took the touch. And we got on to win the game. So it's very good. So I want to just get the views of you guys in the comments. But also Team Takage 1 and Shawnee. Ollie in or Ollie out?
We've already had this discussion, haven't we?
Yeah, I a couple of podcasts ago, I was like saying you can't just keep sacking managers. Like it's not like that. Ollie has done severely badly since he's begun. Where are you now? What, sixth? Seventh. Okay, seventh. So like, it's not ideal. You want to be in a better position. But the thing is, how do you like challenge the top four of the squad that you have? I mean, if you really look at it, Pogba's been out injured.
Just a shout, Wolves have scored.
When Pogba's out.
It's Traore who scored for Wolves. It's 2-1 to City.
Yeah.
And it's Traore that scored.
They at least deserve a goal. I mean, they've been playing their hearts out. They really have. So yeah, Adama Traore, well done, buddy. Yeah, really good goal as well. I mean, he's
a beast.
Yeah, the guy's a beast. I mean, you could see that Bernardo Silva was trying to sort of shoulder barge him. He just shrugged him off.
Yeah.
It's just like, what do you think you're doing? What do you think you're up to?
Right. Okay. Sorry. Let's get back.
Yeah. So it's Ollie in for me. Like they're 100% Ollie in. Like you can see good signs of good Man United play.
Are you saying Ollie in because you're a Liverpool fan and don't want Ollie Man United?
The thing is, for me, like, who are they going to get? Like, obviously, Ancelotti. Oh well, you know. The thing about Potter, right? He's an unreal coach, and Man United don't have the best team, but they've got a good team which can be coached and blah blah blah. But like. For me, Poch still didn't win anything at Spurs. So, like, if you're looking for a trophy winner...
I don't think necessarily United's looking for a trophy winner. I think United's looking for someone... Right now, I think they're looking for some progress. They're looking for identity.
But, like, I think you're, like, one or two signings away... I think you're one or two signings away from challenging top four, like, this season. Like... Obviously, Pogba's just come back, and when he came on, he just like controlled the game. I know Newcastle dropped off and blah blah blah, but like that's the type of player. I know you've been losing to Watfords and Newcastles and stuff like that. When you have, I mean, another thing, your front three now. When you have Martial, Greenwood, and Rashford, it looks like a completely different team. Fred's playing well. You know what I mean. Yeah. So you've got Pogba coming back in. Maybe sign one more midfielder in the thingy. I don't think
that the board will sign another midfielder. Ollie will get.
I don't think Bruno Fernandes is coming, but there's Eriksen's probably going to be available. You know what I mean? And I genuinely think Ollie in, and I think it's the signings. I don't think it's anything else because you've been battering teams 4 or 5-0 some games. I know you've been losing 2-0 to Watford, but Arsenal haven't been battering anybody 4 or 5-0. So it just shows you're like 1 or 2. It's just little things.
It's also like what I was saying at the beginning of the season as well, or what I was saying a couple of podcasts ago when everyone was like calling for Ollie to be out before you started getting the run of good results, was let him, if he doesn't meet his targets, if he builds his team, the team that he wants, and then he's still unsuccessful, then give him the sack. But it's disrespectful, I think, to just be like, well, you know, you've only got this to work with, and you failed, so unfortunately you're out. That's just someone's interpretation of where they should be with the team that they have. You know, it's not them that's coaching. It's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that's coaching. So for me, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt and just like say, look, Ollie, we respect you. You're a valued member of the club. You've done this club good service. Build your team, the team that you want. Buy some players in January. Buy some players at the end of the season, and then judge him. Yeah. Okay, judge him on his team, not on what he was given when he first got to Man United.
Yeah, he's still in the Carabao Cup, Europa League's there, FA Cup's there. He might finish top 4. Chelsea are not.
We'll see.
I don't know about Chelsea. Chelsea are weird, man.
Let me just, while you guys are catching the game, just read some of the comments from the from the chat. Rasmus A. Ollie should be sacked, especially after writing off this season, saying this season is the preparation for the next season. He hasn't learned that preparation for a season is done in a pre-season. I do. I mean, I do. And if those who actually like the vid, and like and share the vid if you can. I do partially agree with that statement. To be honest, I was very disappointed when Ollie said that this is preparation for next because, we've got it's like we're literally got half of a season left to play. What the hell? We as Team Takagwana just said, we're still in the Europa League, we're still in the Carabao Cup, we're still in the FA Cup, we've still got a chance of getting top 4, and you're basically saying this is preparation for next season. That was very, very, unless there was some Norwegian translation issue, some English thing, which I don't understand, which I have got no idea to understand. I just don't really get. I just don't get why he would say that. I really, really don't.
He might just be being honest. He might just be.
Yeah, but you don't do that. You don't do that. You do that maybe in the dressing room, and even in the dressing room, it's because the thing is that it builds complacency. I mean, the only reason why I can say he said that was because it maybe took the pressure off. It takes the pressure off the players from the press and all the rest of it. And if that's the case, okay, fair enough. But for the fans and for the people that are paying to watch, it's not great to basically see your manager halfway through a season. Mourinho hasn't said that. Lampard hasn't said that. And no Arsenal managers even said that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll just quickly.
It was a silly thing to say. I still think you have to give him the benefit of the doubt in terms of. And I know everyone in the chat is going to be thinking to themselves, "All right, it's a Liverpool fan just wanting Man United to do bad." They're not doing that bad. I mean, how far are you off fourth spot? It's like 5 points. 5 points. That's
only because
you're fighting
worse, but I agree.
Yeah, you're fighting, and you got to say to Ollie, has he met his targets when he first signed? Did he promise the board that he was going to get Champions League football? With the team that he has now, is that team going to survive in the Champions League? McTominay and James, are they going to? Is it okay to have them in the Champions League even?
I mean, they won the Champions League last season. They beat PSG in Paris, didn't they? And you had Chong and Gomez on that team.
Yeah. So
that was even a weaker team compared to what we had last season, because this season at least we've got Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, so to speak. So, I think that United could definitely survive with the way that we play in terms of a counter-attacking type of sort of thing.
So it's the way you think it's not the team, it's the way they're getting set up. You think that team's good enough to challenge for the Champions League?
I think we have a good enough team. The issue, where this question is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics
good enough?
And going into just some of these other comments. Georgia B. Newcastle gave Ollie a late Xmas present with two gift goals. Don Ragnar is overall Ollie out. He says he can't take United to the next level. With the players we have, there's a top team waiting to express itself, which I agree. I feel a better manager with better tactics can deliver titles. Ollie will not. Georgia B. Ollie's not tactically adapted enough to stay in. Declan Rice and Longstaff Ollie types. Well, to be honest, if I even hear that Manchester United are linked with Sean Longstaff again after he basically assisted us 2 goals yesterday, and by assisted us I mean in a negative way, then I don't know what Ollie's smoking. Because if there's anyone that in United should even be linked to, it's his younger brother Matty, who scored against us twice for some reason, but not Sean at all. Don Ragnar, Ollie relies on individuals to show moments of quality to get the team over the line. He has no system of play. And Don Ragnar says, as Rand says, Ollie's style of play is freestyling. I'm judging him on tactics. In-game substitution training ground is coming up short. Almost finishing his quote before, come on. Don Ragnar, sometimes I feel Ollie just panders to the Braveheart wannabe passion merchant fan demographic, i.e. the Andy Tates of this world.
Am I allowed to reply to these people in the comments?
You can, yes. And I'm going to read Rasmus's last one. I don't know if you have this on today's agenda or not, But what do you think about Zlatan joining AC Milan? We do have that on today's agenda. We're going to discuss that, I think, just before we preview the games. So, but yes, we are going to talk about Zlatan going to AC Milan. Team Takage just wants to respond.
Yeah. Go on. I'm kind of like confused at all the hate. Like, you're 7th right now.
The worst start in the press. Like,
I mean, look where Arsenal are. Look what like Spurs have just. I mean, Spurs are looking okay. I mean, they only just beat, who was it, Brighton? That was very lucky for them. I mean, no one's really having an amazing season. I think they're being very, very harsh. City are slipping up. Leicester are doing really, really well, to be fair. Chelsea, they might not get into the top 4. Arsenal are like 12th or 11th or something. Like, I think you guys are being very, very harsh. Personally, what I said earlier was, I think you're 1 or 2 signers of just having a really, really solid team. He might, I mean, Klopp plays on passion if you think about it.
Well, George B responds says, it's not hate, it's clear-eyed assessment.
Clear-eyed, I mean, where are you in the table? 7th? And you just smashed it, like, you should be happy. Like, you just smashed the team 4-1. You were down in that game too, so it showed character. Like, I think there's this thing with, like, Arsenal fans, Man United fans, a few others, like, we just, at the minute, we have to, we're in a sticky situation, but you have to just get behind your team.
When did United fans set up a mediocrity?
I mean, is it mediocrity?
It's a balance because it's
not as if like you made it. You're still in Europa League.
No, it's a balance because on the one hand you're right in that. No, of course we're gonna celebrate our wins. And anytime Manchester United plays, I'm always hopeful that Manchester United will get the win. And you always back and. Well, they not somewhat, yeah, and they shouldn't be. A lot of them are hoping that. Yeah, so for the Manchester United fans who just want the team to just lose all times, or it can go. That for me, that's wrong. You should be behind your team regardless of whoever's in charge, because that's United fans should be. And you criticize the players based on their assessment and where they play. So I celebrated when United beat City, beat Spurs, etc. Ollie there or no Ollie there. However, the reality is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, saying that it's preparation for next season. That isn't how football really is now. That's not how football is. You don't get you don't necessarily get another full season. So either he knows something that we don't, but as far as I understand, you don't get another season. What happens if United lose 10 games in a row? Are you then going to be like, oh yeah, we'll start to prepare for next season? That's nonsense.
Really didn't get that. That was a strange comment.
It's a very strange comment.
But at the same time, you guys get Poch, right? What happens if the form goes worse? Okay, maybe you're rebuilding for next season, but isn't that what Ollie is saying he's doing? I know he shouldn't have said it, but that's what's really going to happen if you think about it? I think because Poch is going to be rebuilding for next season.
I think the issue is no, of course. I mean, if I'm honest, like even when it comes to sacking, is that we did a poll actually, and I think some of you guys probably saw the poll, Ollie in or Ollie out after the Watford result, and actually 56% of people, I think only 25 votes actually were Ollie in, and 40 or something were Ollie out. So there's still a sized amount of it's a divided fan base. So with that being said, and I don't think you'll get chance at Old Trafford with Ollie out. I don't think so too, and it won't trend. However, the issue is we've got to move on because we've got a few other things to talk about. I think the issue is that you want to, at least after a year and a half, a bit, just like you had guys have with Emery, you want to be able to see some progress, see some pattern of play. And with Ollie, as I told you, it's almost predictable in the idea of we set up to counter-attack against teams, usually playing 2 holding midfielders. If we can't break teams down, we're done. Okay? We've lost most of our games, bar this Newcastle game, having the majority of possession, not being able to do anything about it. And the only thing that possibly maybe might make this turnaround is the fact that we have Pogba back. But his signings, his philosophy that Lukaku should have gone, the fact that we're very depleted, that all came from him as well. So we'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of the guys are saying...
I'm surprised that United fans are happy with the team as well, because like, I don't know if can this team compete with Liverpool, City?
We're the only team to. We've beaten City this season, and we're the only team to take points of Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I mean like progressively over the season, like to.
In terms of points, or do you mean in terms of playing against them?
No, like yeah, I guess point wise and playing against them.
Well, the issue is that we can't beat. It's like as we keep on saying, United the Robin Hood of United Robin Hood of the Premier League.
Yeah.
We take points from the big teams and give them to the small teams for some stupid reason. But if you want to win a Premier League title, like I don't care if we draw against at Liverpool at Anfield away. That's fine, but you need to make sure that you're beating bottom place Watford or Southampton or Leicester. That's how you win titles.
But you don't think that's down to the team? You think that's the way?
I think it's the way it's set up, because at some point, we'll move on here in a second. Which is that you know, for me, Ollie has persistently played a 4-2-3-1, and when you have a team that puts 10 men behind the ball or has a low block, what benefit is there in playing two holding midfielders? Why do you need to play two holding midfielders against the low block?
I'm guessing he's not playing one of the holding midfielders as a holding midfielder. Maybe it's just like playing one of the holding midfielders to sit in front of the back four and be more defensive, where the other.
You think that, but that's not usually how it plans out.
Oh, right.
But anyway, that's Ollie. That's going to be an ongoing debate. I think it's one of the questions of a watch this space. Just quickly with some of the comments for some of the responses here. Don Ragnar says, "Not hate, my dude." To Team Carrick, Emery had a higher win percentage and was rightfully sacked. Ollie's win percentage was worse, and he got up like Terminator and carried on with his job. Josie had a better win percentage and was sacked. Georgia B and Van Hal, Don Ragnar. Georgia B, we had top four in our grass last season. Ollie let slip against Cardiff and Huddersfield. Rasmus A, well, yeah, we won 4-1, but was it as a result of pure domination? Far from it. It's a fair point. It is in the sense that two of the Newcastle goals were mistakes. Let's be honest. Like the first goal Marshall scored, keeper should save that. The fourth goal was the second goal even was a stray pass from Shah, which Mason Green intercepts. I think the only one I would say was Aaron Wan-Bissaka putting in that cross in to Rashford. No, of course we'd rather win. Of course.
Arsenal, we can't beat anybody 4-0.
That's one thing I would say there is like if the other managers had better win percentages and they still couldn't do anything with this team, and they're quality managers. What manager are you looking for that can come in and make a better team?
I think the issue is, and this is, and Don Ragnar makes this point, and we definitely have to move on, guys. For something to manage is that, and Don Ragnar makes the point is, I wouldn't mind being an eighth if there was a clear philosophy, a pattern of play, a manager making in-game tactical decisions that positively affect the game with a signs of ascension.
Did Van Hal not have that?
No, not really.
No?
He had played. Van Hal's playing style was very much possession-based football, but with nothing else. And that was the time that possession football was starting to sort of get out of fashion.
And Pochettino has that.
The thing is, for me, the thing that keeps Ollie is that for 3 months we played amazing, and I've still yet for someone to ask the question, why in the 3 months we played 4-3-3 with only one holding midfielder, a box-to-box in Herrera and Pogba going forward. And we were incredible. And that's what he played. If he goes back to playing that way in the first 3 months, not a problem. I've got no problem with that away because we have the players to do that. But for some reason, he's stuck with this 4-2-3-1, which is okay in terms of a counter-attacking sort of system. But like, outside of that, not really. But anyway. Quick something before we move on.
So just an interesting subject.
Georgia B, I don't hate Ollie. He's just not the right guy to manage United. We need director of football first and foremost. United's management staff from top to bottom seems to be freestyle. United Man, shout out to United Man and go to his channel as well, guys. Good content. He says, I think we need 2 central midfielders, one preparing for Pogba's ex and also another technically gifted midfielder. I think that's true too. However, will the board buy it is another matter. Ball retention is key, as well as being able to break down teams, putting 11 men behind the ball. That's what Pogba gives you. We desperately need Pogba to stay, if I'm honest. Chris Mateague, hi. Shout out to you, mate. Thanks for joining the chat again. And George B. Herrera was the key to the 4-3-3. He was. We haven't replaced him, and that's been our problem. So let's quickly moving on. Man City under a lot of pressure here right now. Next subject is Chelsea, actually. Lampard, Team Takage, you're up on this. Chelsea are a strange team now, in that, they absolutely battered Mourinho's Spurs, but then they lost home games to, I think, West Ham, Southampton, and Bournemouth.
You guys have dropped points against those teams.
We have, but we haven't dropped to them at home.
No, that's true.
Aside from the Crystal Palace loss, but at least at home, the fact that their away form, Chelsea away form, seems to be better than the home form, but it seems that they do seem to struggle, not in the United way struggle against other teams. Team Takage won. What's going wrong for Frank Lampard at Chelsea?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because after the Spurs away game, they changed to a system of a back three with Tomori, Zuma, and who's the other lad? Rudiger, who just come back. I was like, oh yeah, these guys are quite solid now. But then they had the same system against the next game where they lost Southampton, and I was like, what went wrong? I'm wondering if it had something to do with Jorginho, or it could be a home thing, because it was Kante and Jorginho for this game, and in the last game it was Kante and Kovacic in the midfield. So I'm wondering if maybe Jorginho's a bit of a liability, or is it a home thing? I'm not really sure. Tammy Abraham's a bit of a funny one as well, because he's got quite a lot of goals in the league, but he seemed to just go missing half the time. He can't score against the big six, and apparently can't score against Southampton. So inconsistency with Chelsea's players. I did say that Chelsea will get top 4. I'm kind of we might need to do a January kind of mid-season review.
Yeah, I think
recap.
Yeah, because I don't know about. We might have to look at our predictions again, because I don't know about that.
It's already mid-season already, so I think that possibly this coming Monday, actually, probably we could do this on Monday. We could basically do a mid-season review podcast. That's actually a good shout. This coming Monday is probably a good shout. We'll do something like that, mid-season review. Shawnee, what do you think? Chelsea Lampard?
Yeah, Chelsea Lampard. I don't know. There's just a little bit of. I don't know whether it's a problem with a particular player. Just the entire team looks a bit lackluster. And I admit I haven't watched the full games. I've just watched the highlights. Tammy Abraham, he's one of those players that does thrive on being the centre of attention. I reckon anyway. That's when he sees a lot of the ball and he gets a lot of attention. He's just one of them players that just grows into the game and just starts to really enjoy himself and then smacks a few goals in. And he hasn't been getting that because there's just been a lackluster atmosphere in the entire camp. I'm sure Lampard knows how to rally them and just get them motivated for the coming games. I don't think this run of form is going to continue. I'm hoping that Frank Lampard's going to be a little bit more successful, rally the troops a little bit, because they were an entertaining team to watch. So yeah, I think just watch him over the next judge him over the next 5 games. Every team that's not challenging for the number 1 spot is entitled to a bad run, I think. and Chelsea are just on a little bit of a bad run. They had a good run, and they're on a bad run. Let's see what.
Remember, they haven't. They were transfer banned as well, so that could be something to look to in January. We'll see.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the games we're going to be previewing is going to be Chelsea versus Arsenal this weekend, which I think is interesting. Going to be interesting because you've obviously got the novice in Frank Lampard and Arteta going head to head. I think it's at the Emirates, if I'm correct. And it'll be interesting. I think it'll be an interesting game.
Who's got the better team?
That is a question.
So Chelsea.
Well, he's there, but
Aubameyang.
Did he help them? Did he help them win against Southampton, Bournemouth, and West Ham? He was playing, so I rate Kante, but I'm just saying that he wasn't.
People in the chat, who's better, Arsenal or Chelsea?
Which current team? Let us know in the chat. What current team do you think is better? Forget the manager. Just in terms of player for player, is Arsenal's team better than Chelsea's team? Let us know in the comments. Chris Mateague says, sorry, for 3 months the players will just let's play, not there. Oh, it's about United counter-attack structure, which I don't like, that we depend on this one attack. No, when we own the ball, we struggle. Coaching needed. Fair enough. Don Ragnar says, Lampard has got 32 points from his first 19 games in charge, the worst under the Roman Abramovich era. That's interesting. I did not know that's the statistic. So fair enough. Like I said, I think for Lampard, I think the difference is with a lot of Chelsea fans. I think a lot of Chelsea fans knew that Lampard, one, they weren't going to get a top manager in the summer because which manager was going to come into a club which was in the midst with a transfer ban and with young players. So I understand that. But as you said, Doug Wagner, it's a young team he's developing, and when you look at players like Mount, like Abraham Tomori, Hudson-Odoi, who's just come back from injury, even what's his name, who I think is almost close to coming back, who's not been playing for a while, Loftus-Cheek. When Loftus-Cheek comes back into that midfield, then suddenly, because he was, to be honest, their MVP, in my opinion, towards last season, and Hazard, frankly, has been banned at Real Madrid so far. But that's a tale for another day when Real Madrid start playing. Rasmus A says Chelsea squad is better. Shawnee, Chelsea squad, Arsenal squad.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, if you had the Arsenal strikers playing alongside the Chelsea midfield, the mix would make a really, really good team, wouldn't it? Because then you'd have. If you had Tammy Abraham in the mix with Aubameyang and Lacazette, but if I was to give an answer now, I probably would say Chelsea as well, and that's just literally they're just a slightly more defensively better.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. It's Adama Traore has equalised for Wolves. So is it him that's scored, is it? But Adama Traore has been part of it, and Jimenez has scored the goal, and Pep Guardiola, or Fraudiola as we called him, as Sterling is all over. Sorry about that.
Watch this.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, lads. Just taking a quick replay.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Talk you through it.
Yeah, I was just about to say how good City are defending.
And then Mendy makes a mistake.
Oh yeah, it was Mendy who made the
Traore's
mistake
give me
too.
that.
Oh my days, Traore is an absolute beast, isn't he? Yeah, absolutely fantastic. To be fair,
Get the hell out of here. It's men against boys again.
Adama Traore just manhandled Mendy, and just a ball square across the box into the 6 yard box, into the danger area. Jimenez there with an absolute poacher's finish. Fantastic finish.
Next stream might have to be about Wolves, guys, and how they finished last season, 7th, 6th,
7th, I think. Yeah.
And maybe on for a top 6 finish again.
We'll talk about
unreal, lad.
We'll probably maybe end up reviewing the game at this rate. Lads,
this isn't going to finish 2-2. If you're watching at home.
Wolves look like they might go and win it. Guardiola is in the complete and utter disarray.
I was just about to comment on how well City have defended, because like they've been trying them balls that Adama Traore just put into Jimenez all night, and City have defended really, really violently throughout this entire night. And in 80th minute,
and Pep took off Aguero for the red card, and he's took off his most creative player, De Bruyne, as well. Just to let you know,
it's very strange.
Well done, Pep.
Anyway, back to the podcast. Sorry, guys. Obviously, we'll perch Lampard and how we feel that Lampard is going to be in a second. Just to read some of the comments, Georgia B says, I prefer Chelsea man for man over Arsenal. And Don Rank says, I think Chelsea over Arsenal when they perform. And Georgia B, Wolves. Moving on, guys. Thanks everyone who's still watching. We'll just quickly see on the podcast. Carlo Ancelotti. This picture, obviously, you can see Big Duncan in the back. Carlo Ancelotti looks quite tired. But, you know, another new manager coming in. He's obviously first win against Burnley. Will Everton have the Ancelotti effect? Let me know in the comments, guys. Shawnee?
I hope not. Will who have the Ancelotti effect? Sorry,
Carlo Ancelotti have the Ancelotti effect.
Okay. Yeah, I hope not. They should have been. They should have been in the relegation zone. I was hoping Arsenal would do it, and United actually. Just put them miseries out, just down there in that relegation zone, because they were just hovering around it, and they were in it for a little while. Ancelotti, he is a good manager. I don't think he's a fraud, by the way. I think he just generally has a bit of class about him, and he has a good philosophy in his football. So I hate to say it, but unfortunately, I think he's going to do quite a good job there. Hopefully, not too good a job, and it's just a stepping stone to something better. Would you guys have Ancelotti at United?
I think the thing with Ancelotti is, you know, the style of football he's going to play. Ancelotti, I think, is a good manager, but I'm not 100% sure whether he's a good coach anymore.
Is that a no?
It's a difficult because it's I feel United need a coach. I feel United need players. I feel they need a good coach. Like Klopp is a good coach and a good manager, I might add. It's one thing to have a good, because the thing is, players respect a good coach because the coach is making them get better. You know, whereas it's very easy to sort of turn on a manager, because a manager, he can manage, he can make things better, but actually, when push comes to shove, if the player feels like they're not getting better, not winning anything, they can turn on them quickly. Very few players will turn on a good coach because they're like, I'm getting better because of this player. Yeah. I'm privileged. I'm an honour to play under this sort of coach, making them better. You know, so that's why you're not going to see the City players just turn on Pep or Liverpool players turn on Klopp, because they are brilliant coaches. You know. Don Magnus says, Don Ancelotti with his enforcer slam dunk Ferguson. I wanted Ancelotti when Moyes was sacked. That's what Don Magnus says, and I would agree with that. I would agree. Georgia B says, I prefer a young and more energetic manager for the long term, which is an option. It's just, I mean, I guess Nagelsmann is there, but Pochettino obviously. I think the big thing for me with Everton and is that I just don't see it. It doesn't fit. It just doesn't look like it fits.
It's a relegation. No. Ancelotti is a decorated manager. You know, to go to a club like Everton, and I don't mean to put Everton. I hope there's no Everton fans watching this, because obviously I have instilled within me a bigger hatred for Everton than I have for even Man United. So yeah, Everton just don't seem like an Ancelotti team. I completely agree with that. I don't know what he's doing there, to be completely honest. They were hovering around relegation, unless he wants to be like a Benitez, you know, like I can bring this team, you know.
Everton's not going to get relegated though, are they? Really?
No, they're not. But I wish they would. And they were.
It sounds like you hate Everton more than you hate United.
I do.
Really?
I do because I sort of grew because I can. If I was to give you my Man United testimony a little bit, I grew up with no one really around me supporting Man United. Okay. So like Man United was never really a massive threat.
Okay.
And there was like a lot of Arsenal fans, Brighton fans because I lived down in East Sussex, which was really close to Brighton. Right. But I did have a couple of staunch Evertonians, and for some reason Liverpool always used to draw against Everton, which is just such a annoyance. Mm. So there's and then obviously my dad telling me about all the derbies that he went to, and all the Everton fans always giving him stick. So yeah, I think there's a bigger hatred for Everton than there is for Man United. I mean, I'm only one Liverpool supporter. There'll be other Liverpool fans that hate Man United more, but just me personally, I hate Everton more. Oh my days! Wolves have just scored again.
It's 3-2 to Wolves. It's 3-2 to Wolves. I think it's Doherty that scored the goal, and City look like. I mean, this is kind of. I don't know what to say here, really, because, I mean, yeah, I'm happy. You know what? I'm happy as a United fan. I'm quite content that Manchester City are being bantered by Wolves. Bearing in mind that we didn't actually lose at the Molineux, if everyone remembers. Yes, okay, City are above us in the table, but I don't know. There's just something about I'm just so happy that Wolves are basically bantering City right now. I really am. And bearing in mind they've done the Premier League double on City as well. Otamendi was just sat down. Guys, we'll continue with the podcast, but it's if anyone thought that the title race was over, now end with this. Anyone actually thought the title race was over, then the title race, it is now basically. City are no longer in a title race, and as I predicted, actually, I think if you remember the podcast, I predicted that City would potentially drop points against Wolves, and there you go. So Liverpool, congratulations, Liverpool FC. You finally won the Liverpool. You have won the title. Congratulations to Liverpool FC having beaten Leicester and for Wolves having beaten themselves. But let's move on. Don Ragnar, all the top teams are going with inexperienced young managers. Could this be a stroke of genius by Everton to get an older serial winner in Ancelotti to give them the big club mentality? It's possible. It's possible. The only thing I would say in regards to Everton is just the fact that they actually had good managers. Marco Silva was a good manager in my opinion. Ronald Koeman was a good manager in my opinion. And it didn't seem to work with them. So there just seems to be, for me, Everton have a philosophy. And it just seems that they don't seem to get the right manager to come and really deliver that. Rasmus say, at this rate, City might even drop out of top 4. Would you say that is far? I don't think it's far-fetched. I mean, for starters, Edison is obviously suspended for 3 games. I think 3 or 2 games a straight red card. It'll be 3 games, won't it?
Adama Traore just almost sent Sterling into orbit there.
And then, of course, so it's possible. It's possible. I just think that City will beat a lot of the smaller teams. But for some strange reason, Pep took off Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne. So what do you expect? And Georgia B, expletive scousers. I agree. But there we go. What can we do as United fans? What can we do? Right, moving on quickly. Mourinho and Spurs. Shawnee, because we want to quickly go to Zlatan and then just preview the upcoming fixtures. Fraudiola, there we go. I think he's gone to the dugout now. Mourinho and Spurs. Can Spurs get top 4 under Mourinho this season, Shawnee?
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, you can already see that there is an improvement there. I mean, I don't know exactly if he must be man to man coaching these Tottenham players because Ali looks like a completely different player. He looks like a player that he should be. So I think they could easily make top four. Out of all the teams that are hovering around that spot, they're the ones that maybe look actually them and Wolves, ironically. Maybe even Man United throw them into the mix. I'm not too sure if Arsenal are too far gone now. But I would probably say that Tottenham are my top picks to if anybody replaces Chelsea in that fourth spot. I would say that probably it would be Tottenham. They just seem to have a little bit of momentum, a little bit of drive. They're starting to look like a really good team again. It's a huge bummer that Son is out now because he just looked fantastic in every game. This is going to be a huge blow for him. But he deserved to get sent off. So yeah, I think definitely. It's a nice easy answer. I think a definite yes. I think they're the ones that sort of look most likely to take that fourth spot.
Has Mourinho? I mean, the only thing I'll say, I guess, to Mourinho, and I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments. By all means, feel free to ask either myself or Shawnee, the Liverpool fan, or Team Takage One, the Arsenal fan, any specific questions regarding our clubs or anything you want us to know. Please let us know in the comments if you guys are still listening. Like the video if you're still watching as well, or if you're listening after the event. But for me, the thing with Mourinho is that has Mourinho actually improved Spurs? Like, has he yes, okay, they're playing for him and they're winning games, but I can't see how that they've actually even in that Brighton game, for long periods of that game, they weren't that great. Their midfield seemed to be quite non-existent. I don't think defensively they've gotten better in terms of defending set piece or anything like that. And attacking, of course, Kane has got the quality, but as you've sort of said, they're gonna miss obviously Son. Lucas Moore didn't look particularly sharp, so I just haven't seen the improvement. The match is over, 3-2 to Wolves. Fraudiola has to essentially concede the title now. Anyway, good comeback for Wolves. Team Takage One. Can Mourinho succeed at Spurs? Because I actually don't see the improvement.
I'm with you. Obviously, there's an improvement in terms of results, but go on. What's the comment?
Don't Magna, man. I love you guys. Shout out to all you guys watching the stream, but I love your comments. Like, Guardiola starting to look like a man that's always turning up to a street battle armed only with a badminton racket.
Mourinho, he hasn't improved Spurs. I mean, in terms of results, he has. I just think I look at that Spurs midfield, and okay, Eriksen might turn on the gas when he wants to, but do you really want a player who is hot and cold and he chooses to play when he wants to? Because other than that, the midfield is so weak. I would say their midfield is worse than Arsenal's. They got Winks, who's just he's not even a poor man's anything. He's already the people that say he's a poor man, such and such. He's already the poor man. Sissoko's just not good. Dyer's not good either. So really, you've got Eriksen, and that's about it in your midfield. That midfield is weak. And defense, Alderweireld doesn't look good this season at all. Vertonghen looks alright. Davinson Sanchez looks alright. But so Mourinho's determined to play those three at the back and then midfielders. So I don't think Mourinho's not really a type of manager to improve a lot of players. He just grinds results. But I wouldn't say they're a lot better, which maybe just shows you either everybody's really poor this year or everyone's just kind of they probably compare themselves to Liverpool and just think we're just not that good. I think it's a rebuilding process for a lot of teams this season.
Looking at the table right now, Liverpool obviously have 52 points with a game in hand. Obviously, City have got 39, same points less than 39. Chelsea have got 32. And then you have the jump. Tottenham have 29, so 3 points behind Chelsea. Sheffield United have 29, also 3 points behind Chelsea. And then United with 28 points. And then Wolves with 28 points now, obviously, as well. So Wolves are actually 4 points from top four. So You got quite a few teams there in Wolves, United, Sheffield, and Tottenham, all now in the top 4 race. Very interesting. Ilya United, long time no see. Good to see you in the chat, Ilya. Liverpool champions, damn. Liverpool champions. Fair enough. Right. We'll put the Spurs to bed. I think this will be to be continued. But obviously, then the Champions League, we'll see what happens, and we'll do our Champions League preview closer to time. Right. Almost last before we do our Premier League. Premier League fixtures preview. Is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Has obviously he's basically confirmed essentially to re-sign for AC Milan. At 38 years old, he's going back to Serie A. I'm interested to see what people's views are in the comments. Let me know in the comments, guys, and also the views of this panel. Guys, what do you think about Zlatan Ibrahimovic at 38 years old going back to play for AC Milan? Sean, you go first.
I don't know. He just
Does what he wants.
just wants to keep going, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good. I mean, if you have him in the dressing room, I'd imagine he's a good player to to look at. You look across the room, you're like, I'm playing with Zlatan Ibrahimovic today. I don't know what he can offer. I mean, the Italian league at the moment is kind of...
Yeah, it's a bit dead anyway.
Yeah.
To be fair, there was a player...
Well, no, it's Inter obviously on top, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a gap between first, second. Because I think Lazio are third.
Lazio third. I don't think they're that far behind.
Okay.
I agree, go for it.
There was a guy...
he can have a bit of a laugh, can't he?
Yeah. Play for Sampdoria. He was 36.
Yeah.
And he was like one of the top scorers last season.
Yeah, right.
So like maybe that just kind of shows you what Serie A is like. You can be like slow and whatever, as long as you can finish like that. You can't do that in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So you'll probably be all right for them. AC Milan aren't doing too well anyway, so it might be a good fit.
In answer to Don Ragnar's comment, I'm not entirely sure what happened to Ndombele, to be honest. To say he's not injured, he has to be left out, according to Mourinho. I'm not sure why. Possibly personal reasons, possibly fear for injury. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe he just thinks he just wants to rest until the new year because he fears he'll be injured again. That's a possibility. He'd be effective in Serie A and looked after himself and is a physical beast for Dembélé. Fair enough. Ilya United says I'm on holiday. Fair play, mate. As far as I just think this is a vanity signing by AC Milan. AC Milan are, if I'm correct, AC Milan, I think currently right now have one of the worst starts. I think the last time I checked, they got battered by Atalanta 5-0 or something, and I'm looking at Serie A. I'm just get the table up. Now. AC Milan are 11th place on 21 points.
It's like Arsenal.
I would argue even worse because first place is Inter on 42 points. So the gap is like 21 points from 11th, and top 4 is like Roma's got 35 points. So that's what like 16 points off top 4. That's it's sustainable. I don't know. I just think that why is Zlatan going back to AC Milan? What does he think he's going to achieve at AC Milan? He's not going to win a title at AC Milan. You're not going to even win a European Cup at AC Milan. So
He's just hanging around, isn't he? Just trying to...
It's a strange one. I mean, I guess the only place you could play, because he's in the MLS already, and as far as where Elliot would have wanted to renew his contract. So unless he wanted to play in Europe again, or he misses Europe, or he wants to be closer to home, I don't know. That's the only thing that I can think of because, heck, I'm sure Everton might not have minded him being in the team. I don't know. I've got no idea. I think it's a strange signing. I think it really is a strange signing. Just a few comments. Don Ragnar, that's in reference to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, which is a physical beast. We'll see. And Ilya United, Abracadabra is a legend. Fair enough. Georgia B, food's good in Italy. That's reason enough for me. Fair enough. Fair enough, Georgia B. You're right. And I know we have a couple of Italian Americans in this chat as well. So shout out to you guys, seriously. And thank you guys for still supporting the channel and getting involved in these. We all appreciate it. It makes these podcasts worth doing. So basically, wait and see. We'll wait and see what Ibrahimovic does. But if he's still Ibrahimovic, I'm sure Serie A will be. I'm sure at least we'll get like an Ibra versus Ronaldo game again. So AC Milan versus Ronaldo. So you never know. Right. Okay. Lastly, before we finish the stream, we've been streaming for a while, but we're almost finished. Is the Premier League preview. If you're new to the channel again, like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio and smash the like button. But we'll go around quickly and then we'll give our fantasy football picks for this game week and then we'll wrap it up. First things first, we'll go to Shawnee here. And guys, you post your predictions in the comments as well. Brighton versus Bournemouth. Brighton at home.
Me? Brighton, Bournemouth. I'd like to see Bournemouth do it, actually, purely because I was from around Brighton and I know the Brighton fans are filthy animals. So I'm just going to go with a strong Bournemouth win, just because of my hatred for yeah, I'm not a massive. I don't like Brighton, so I'm just going to go with a Bournemouth win. Harry Wilson being back, actually, one of my fantasy football picks. I'll talk about fantasy football in a second, but Harry Wilson looked sharp when he came on against Arsenal. Almost scored, actually, to put them in the lead. Bournemouth, a good team. So many injuries, but really, really strong. I think they're stronger than Brighton. If you put them... It's debatable because they do have a lot of good people in attack, Brighton. But I'm gonna go Bournemouth with a clear 2-0 win.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Bournemouth with a clear 2-0 win. Fair enough. Okay. Team Takage 1, Newcastle at home to Everton. Obviously Everton, Carlo Ancelotti. Newcastle, Steve Bruce. What do you think?
I don't know. Obviously, Newcastle just they almost look like they gave up against United. They were just like they rested a few players, etc. Obviously, when you got Joe Linton on the field, you're just waiting for him to come off and for someone else to come on because he's a thief. That's what I called him the other day. He's a fraud and he's a thief. He's stealing, a paycheck. But I think Newcastle are pretty good at home. They drew with City at home, I believe, or was that away? Can't remember. They beat Man United at home. They beat Spurs. So I think he'll be. See, Ancelotti, obviously, he's just come off a win on his first game. The players will be buzzing. But Newcastle are tricky. If Joe Linton plays, then Everton are going to win. If Joe Linton doesn't play, then Newcastle are going to win. Especially if Shelby, because I don't think Shelby was rested. So I think that's another thing. I think they were thinking, Man U, okay, we've already beat them once this season. That's,
just play
three points out of 6. I'll take that. So yeah, I think, like I said, Joe Linton plays, Newcastle lose. Joe Linton doesn't play, Everton lose.
Okay. This is my match. Southampton versus Crystal Palace. That's an interesting game, actually. Crystal Palace, Roy Hodgson has got them, firing on all cylinders, and Southampton have started to pick up a good run of form. It's a difficult game to call. I mean, I'm looking at the table again, and Crystal Palace are actually 9th. They're actually ahead of Arsenal on 26 points. And Southampton are 14th with 21 points, but they picked up a good run of form. They were almost rock bottom. They picked up a run of form. I think Southampton have won their last three out of 5 games, and Crystal Palace have won 2, drawn 2, and lost 1. So even, I think, in that respect, I think I see this playing out as a draw. I think it's one of those games where I think has the potential to be a goal thriller, but I think that they'll not want to lose both teams. So I think I'm going to say a 1-1. I think. Yeah, a 1-1 draw. Okay. Back to you, Shawnee. Watford at home to Aston Villa.
Might be a good battle, this one, because Watford are starting to do a little bit of fighting. Even though Villa are sort of coming into it a little bit as well. Grealish, assisting and scoring a goal in the last couple of games. So that will also be a good little relegation battle. I don't know, for some reason a little tickle is just telling me that it might just be Watford that might pip Aston Villa over this one. So I'm just going to go with a Watford 2-1 win over Villa. Just because I quite enjoyed watching Watford play over the weekend. Actually, they played pretty well. I'm going to go with a Watford win.
Okay. In United, Brighton 2-0, Newcastle 1-1. Fair enough. Don Ragnar, John Joe Shelby looks like he was forged in the fires of Helm's Deep. Fair enough. Fair enough.
He's like a what's the Harry Potter villain?
He's got alopecia, so that's about it. But yeah. Who said that? Don Ragnar.
Don Ragnar.
I'll let you off for that one, Don Ragnar.
Team Takagi, Norwich City at home to Spurs. Norwich City home to Spurs.
Who knows, man? Norwich have had some funny results this season. Drew Arsenal, beat City. Did they beat Man U? No.
No, we beat Norwich.
Yeah, they've had some weird results, Norwich, so you can't really count them out. I think a lot of these sort of bottom, relegation battle teams are thinking, let's get a few points before the New Year's out, and then that'll give them some hope for the next part of the table. So I think I'm gonna go with 2-2.
2-2. Norwich, but really?
I was gonna say 3-1 Spurs, but Hurricane just not looking that great, and obviously Son's suspended. You're kind of relying on Kane now, if we're honest. I don't think they have like a lot of goals in them. Ali's playing, really well.
Sharp,
I think 2-2.
2-2. Okay. So back to me then. In fact, I'll preview this game. So Burnley at home to Manchester United. Again, this could go one of two ways. My only hope, I think, going into this game is that Burnley's run of form so far has not been particularly great. They're on their 12th now. They're actually below Newcastle, and they've lost their last 3 out of the last 5.
That can be dangerous. That can be like a cry to the team to say, right, boys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if there's a team that we can lose against, I mean, looking at these results, I think they lost to Everton at home. They beat Bournemouth away, beat Newcastle at home, got battered by Spurs, and then I think they just lost to who's they lost to at the weekend? They lost to City 4-1. So it's, again, for me, this is the thing with Solskjaer and his tactics, is that it could go one in two ways. If we score first, then I think we've got a chance. I haven't heard from Chris Wood or Ashley Barnes in a while, although they are.
Most of their goals coming from defenders, it seems.
Yeah. They're a threat in the air in the box, and United have always struggled to defend from set pieces this season, as well as deal with big players. I remember when, talking about Damatraya, I remember when he played against Lindelof and Maguire, he just bullied them. He bullied Arteta, he bullied Shaw. I think Wan-Bissaka's the only one that can maybe try and just get a leg in and just deal with it, but everyone else on the back four just bullied them, just absolutely bullied them, and I can see that happening with some of the Burnley players. However, the big difference, hopefully, is that Paul Pogba will be playing, and should be playing, because McTominay's injured now, so Paul Pogba will be playing. So with that being said, I think with Pogba in the team, and Greenwood comes out, I'm going to give 3-1 to Manchester United. optimistic, but we'll see what happens. With Greenwood to score, with Greenwood, Rashford and Martial to score again, and probably give one to Chris Wood because we cannot keep a clean sheet for life of us. Next game. Just reading some of the predictions, sorry, before I get. Norwich 2-1 is Ilian United. Jose the finished one, fair enough. Don Ragnar with McDominay injured. Ollie will play Pogba deep with Fred with his secret love child Pereira as the attacker. I think it'll be a draw, 1-1 or 2-2. Fair enough. Back to Shawnee. West Ham United at home to Leicester City.
No, I think Leicester are going to come flying out the gates. They're going to want to show people that they're still the team that is going to hold second place. I know that was a really, really bad result for them against Liverpool. Liverpool just absolutely rampant in terms of possession and controlling the game. Just really, really controlled Leicester. I don't think anyone else is going to be able to do that in the league. I don't even think City will be able to do it.
Joe Robinson, sorry, maybe new guy into chat. Shout out, thank you for joining. Joe Robinson says Pep is a fraud.
Fraud.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But
you're gonna fit right in.
There's a lot of Pep is a fraud talk after this game.
In fact, as far as I know, there's only me, maybe Team Takagi. There's only me that actually think he's a good manager. I still stand by it.
He's a good coach and a good manager.
Yeah.
He is a fraud.
He's a fraud.
He's a fraud at the same time. Yeah.
So subscribe and like if you like what you've seen, Joe. Subscribe, like.
Yeah, welcome, man. So Leicester are going to come flying out the gates here against West Ham, I think. West Ham, they're sort of up and down, aren't they? So I don't think Leicester are still going to want to show that they're the second team, the second team in the league. Like I say, I don't think anyone else will be able to do to Leicester what Liverpool done. Really, really brilliant performance by Liverpool. I don't think I seriously doubt Leicester are going to be able to do. The West Ham are going to be able to do anything close to what Liverpool did, and Leicester are going to want to show that they're still the team to beat in second place. They're going to come absolutely flying out here. Put all your Leicester. If you're doing fantasy football, chuck all your Leicester players in there because they're going to do a job on Leicester. I'm going to go 4-0 to West Ham.
Is this the match that sacks Pellegrini?
I don't know. Pellegrini might have a good shout. He might say it is Leicester. They are second in the. It would be a massive shock, by the way, if West Ham do.
If we go just back to the table, and sorry, I should have got the table in the stream. I'm having issues with the Mac, but you look at West Ham. West Ham are 17th.
17th.
They're just above that. They literally have the same. Aston Villa, so
they don't deserve to be there. They're a good team. They've still got good players there.
Aston Villa are right now a point. I mean, West Ham do have a game in hand. Although that game in hand is against Liverpool. So let's basically exclude the fact they have a game in hand. Let's be real. Let's be real here. So if we assume that that's a 0, essentially they're 1 point from Villa and about 5 points. 6 points, from Watford. So it's quite possible that West Ham are in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
In a relegation fight. And if they lose this game and Villa win, bear in mind that Villa obviously beat Norwich over the weekend. West Ham could be in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
So that sounds sackable to me.
Yeah. And they should really be scared of Leicester. They're they're wounded foxes, aren't they? Which is maybe more dangerous than, when they're flying on all cylinders. I don't know. I just think it's going to be an absolute walkover. I'm going to go 4-0 to Leicester. Okay. Pellegrini being sacked, maybe. I don't know. He might have a case. He might just say, well, hold on, give me another few games to turn it around.
Well, let's bang one few games. So I'm going to drop, and let's see what are West Ham's next few games. They have Leicester, then they have at home, then they have Bournemouth at home.
Okay.
Then Gillingham away, which is FA Cup third round, and then Sheffield United away, and then the final game of January is they have Everton at home, and then they have Leicester City away again, and then they have Liverpool. So some tough fixtures there, but some winnable fixtures as well. So you're right, we'll see. Team to Kage 1, I'm leaving this obviously for you. Arsenal versus Chelsea. Arsenal at the Emirates. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a good game. I'm going to get I don't think we're going to lose.
Okay.
I think there's two possibilities. I think if I honestly don't really want Lacazette to start. Hopefully Martinelli's back. That would be nice. And then he play on the left and Aubameyang through the middle. Maybe a Pepe on the right. I want the same team.
You want Willock to start?
No, Willock needs to get loaned.
He wants Willock to be sold.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't really have any defenders right now. I wouldn't even. It's obviously I probably will get banded, but I'd probably prefer Mustafi and Socrates instead of David Luiz and Socrates, because David Luiz, like it might not look like he's the fault of the goal, but he is. Like as a defender, like you have to cover certain areas, and that's your bit of the pitch. You command that bit. The goal that we conceded in Bournemouth, which was a bit unlucky to be fair, David Luiz was just napping, man. And he does it so often. That's why Chelsea fans were like bandering Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, hooray, you took David Luiz from us. Thank you very much." So I think it could be Arsenal 3-1 if that team I said plays. If not, then I think it might be a grindy 1-1 draw. But those are my two score predictions: 3-1 or 1-1.
Okay.
Depending on the teams. So.
Okay, well, Don Ragnar says Leicester 3-0 batting of Hammers, so close to showing the result.
Yep.
And so I have a feeling Arsenal might show up and win this. I mean, I agree. I think that it's the first home game with Arteta in charge. I feel that they're going to be up for it, especially if it's a derby. I think there's going to be wanting to press the manager, etc. And I just think Chelsea defensively are somewhat scatterbrained still. I'm not convinced that Chelsea defensively are great at all. And if the front three can actually finish, then they'll cause them problems, I think. Almost done. Liverpool at home to Wolves. Now, of course, Wolves have just beaten City. However...
Don't like what I just saw.
At the same time, Liverpool are at home at Anfield. And...
I don't know. The manager can just say, fellas, this is a free hit. We've beaten City. You know, if we beat Liverpool, we're in the top four. It's a really easy one for Wolves to go into, because they're just I don't think anyone's expecting us to go in and hurt Liverpool, which is dangerous. It's really yeah, it's
they
dangerous.
Have just played today, and the game is it what 2 days? It's
so that's another thing. The extra day's rest, you could argue that Liverpool obviously have.
We need that extra day's rest. We've just come back from cup duty,
yes.
winning the cup. I don't know. Wolves really fought hard this evening, and they were up against a 10-man City, and they still went 2-0 down. So that's positive signs for Liverpool, because I seriously doubt that they're going to be able to get 3 goals past Liverpool. No. So I think it's I don't know. I've taken all of my Wolves players out of my fantasy football. Because I think Liverpool are going to keep another clean sheet here, even though I think it's going to be much, much tighter than it was against Leicester. I think it might be like a 1-0 or a 2-0. Yeah, 1-0 or 2-0. I'll go out and say 2-0. We'll score just before half time and then really late, just to bury the game.
Okay. Fair enough. And I'll finish off with this last one. City versus Sheffield United. After what we just saw. And the fact that Edison will obviously be suspended for 3 games because it's a straight red free. I mean, Claudio Bravo, like I said, for me, I've never rated Claudio Bravo. I think he's a banter keeper, and I think that if there's something to him. Aguero will be on, which I think is the benefit. So Aguero, but then at the same time, Sheffield United have the best defensive record in the Premier League.
Oh really? Yeah.
So far, and City do not have. So obviously you could argue that Aguero wasn't there, but is Aguero going to be doing the defending for City? I don't think so. I also think that. It's going to be a difficult one, I think Sheffield United are going to be very compact in their space, and what I've seen with Sheffield United is that somehow their defenders seem to just score goals, which means that they're very good in the air and they're very good with their feet as well. You know, so if your defenders are scoring your goals, then for me, that's a threat. And City, I'm not necessarily, I'd say, the best at defending from set pieces. I'm going to call this a draw, I think. I think Wilder will be looking at the Wolves game and thinking, how did these guys... Because Wolves went to the Etihad, beat them, and obviously they beat them at the Molineux. And Wilder will be looking at this team and going, how did this team beat Manchester City? And it's like all the other teams beat Manchester City this season. So yeah, I think I'm going to call this a draw, probably, let's say 2-2. I think 2-2 draw to Manchester City.
Huge blow to City, isn't it? If they lose to Wolves and then draw to Sheffield, that's huge. That's a massive blow.
To what though? I mean, were they going to win? Were they going to win the title, Sean? Were they going to win the title?
I mean,
after?
No, if they keep drawing to like Sheffield and losing to Wolves, then they won't lose. Then they're obviously the gap's going to increase. Even if they don't win the title, you'd at least want to like say that you were the closest challengers to the title. And at the moment, they can't even say that because Leicester.
They've lost more games than I think United. I think they've lost about the same amount of games that United have this season. In terms of losses.
Yeah.
So we've obviously drawn more, but in terms of losses, they lost to United. Obviously, they lost to Norwich. They lost to Wolves twice. So that's 4. They lost to Liverpool 5. And I'm thinking, was there one more? Is that it?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think they've lost any games. Go on, Shuni, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
This is the halfway point of the season as well.
Yeah, halfway point of the season. No, fair point. I just think that Pep would rather be second than third, and if he keeps grinding out, it would be a huge blow if he loses to Wolves and then draws against Sheffield. I mean, the fans are going to be livid with that. You know, with the squad that they've got.
Out?
Yeah, Pep out.
Pep out?
Pep out, Ollie in.
Switch manager, by all means. Right, okay, just before we finish the stream, if we just go around, what are your top fantasy football picks for the upcoming game week?
Yeah, take Jimenez out and all your Wolves players. Liverpool's coming to town. But actually,
who's your pick? Who's your pick? Who's your top one pick and then wild card? Then we'll finish.
Honestly, over the last couple of weeks, it's been Jimenez, and he's proved me right this evening as well with an assist and a goal. However, I don't think they're going to score against Liverpool. I think Liverpool are just in a purple patch at the minute. I'm going to go... I mean, Grealish has picked up a few... He's sort of the dark horse at the minute. Over the last couple of games, he's been picking up a lot of points. He had like 10 points and then 6 points and then 6 points again. So if I was to say somebody that's a dark horse that maybe not everyone has in their team, I'll go Grealish. Apart from that, I'll just go Mane, because if you haven't got Mane in your team by now, then quit fantasy football. Because he's really a must in your fantasy football team squad. So if you haven't got Grealish in there, give him a shot. He's been picking up a lot of good points. He's against Watford, Villa against Watford. Ironically, I said that Watford was going to win, but Grealish, he always picks up some points. He either gets an assist or he scores a goal. So he's a good one. For if you're looking for somebody to fill in that midfield gap, then go for Grealish. And if you haven't got Mane in, put Mane in. Take all your Wolves players out.
Team to get one. Top fantasy football picks.
I got Aubameyang, and I also have for the wild card. I would go Shelby. They're playing. Who are they playing again?
Who? Newcastle. Newcastle are playing. I'll just get this up. Newcastle are playing Everton at home.
Yeah. Everton.
Yeah.
Shelby. John Joe.
As far as I'm concerned, which is a United fan, I would definitely put Trent Alexander-Arnold in your team. In fact, I took a point deduction quite considerable to actually put him back in because
took him out because of old man G.
I would definitely put Trent Alexander-Arnold back as if you can afford him, put Trent back. I don't think that's even a wild card. I just think that you should just do it because as a long-term thing, he's gonna improve. So I will definitely do that. My wild card, My wild card would be if you haven't got a Sheffield United defender in your squad, I'd put one in. Martial. Is Martial wild cards? Maybe Martial's a wild card. He's quite expensive, is it? But the Sheffield United defenders that are still fairly cheap, maybe 5.5, 4.8. Baldock, Lodstrom. I think those are good guys, are good shouts because they could keep it clean sheet or even score goals. Anyway, thanks to guys for watching so much. It's a goodbye from Old Man G here, and
take it easy, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.
If you're new to the channel, if you like what you're hearing, please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, UnitedX. See this below, or even hit us up on Twitch. Have a nice evening to everyone. Shout out to everyone in the comments who got involved. Don Ragnar, Georgia B, Ill United. Everyone that basically really got involved, Rasmus A, and so on, guys. Thank you so much for making these podcasts worthwhile, and we'll continue to bring you the great content. All the best, guys, and cheers.